Can you talk themes of season 12?
Themes of season 12. I would say mostly puberty is a strong theme. No, I think the themes for season 12 is really, for us in the same way season 4 was, and season 8 was, and season 6 was. It's a little bit more of a soft reset. It's a little back to basics. And the really important thing to us is making the conflicts and the stakes personal to Sam and Dean, because as you go big, and certainly last year we went real big, I think sometimes the idea of save the world looks really great on paper, and but sometimes can be a little nebulous in the telling of the story. And so for us this season, as we iris the lens in on Sam and Dean and their relationship a little bit more, it's important for us to keep the stakes and keep the danger, keep the excitement, but in a little bit more of a contained way, and a little bit more of a family focused. And Sam and Dean, the nice thing about the last few years is we've built out their family in a lot of really interesting different ways. Yes, there's Crowley and Castiel, but there's also Jodie as she's evolved as a character for us, some other characters as well. Now Mom is back, that's a whole other wrinkle. So it's really about putting the focus more on family and kind of building off that.
So what is that relationship going to be like between Mary and the two boys?
Well, I think, you have to see it from both sides. I mean, in Mary's case, Sam and Dean work to her potential. When you look at a baby, you look at a 4-year-old kid, Dean's a precocious kid and Sam's a baby and they're going to be amazing. And I left my life to raise these kids. And then she passes away and she comes back. And in some ways, what she sees, she's incredibly proud of Sam and Dean because they're heroes. And, she may not agree with hunting, but she understands what they do and she understands how great they are and the good they've done in the world. But she's conflicted because she knows the dangers of this life better than probably anyone, and certainly as well as our guys. And then from Sam and Dean's point of view, you've got someone who, in so many ways, their entire life has been built around it. Mom died, everything spirals from that. And so when she comes back in, there's this idea of, they have an idea of who their mother was. They met her in the past, they got a glimpse of her ghost at one point, but I think they've never dealt with her on a day-to-day basis. They've never really gotten this extent of seeing how she sees them, seeing that through their eyes. And then also, she has a lot Sam and her have a lot in common. They both walked away from hunting. They both came back, but when it comes down to it, I think she's actually more like Dean. She is take charge, kick ass. That's her go-to move. If you saw the trailer, the first thing she does is throws Dean down on the ground and really kind of takes charge of the moment. That's how we want to portray that character. She's a very vulnerable character and, back and kind of out of sorts a little bit, but she's not a soft character.
Can you talk about taking over as showrunner?
Sure. I think we can all agree it was a great move and a long time ago. The metaphor I use is you're walking into an incredibly great cast, really good group of writers, incredible crew. They're handing you the keys to a Lamborghini, and they're like, the only problem here is you. The only thing that can go wrong is you. Everything else is going to work great. So just don't crash the car. So my goal is to not crash the car. Yeah.
Okay, so our season 11, it seemed like it was going along this little path, and then at the end it just did a 180. I know some of it you had to kind of replan some stuff, but can you tell us, I don't know, what was going on? How did you get to that point?
I think what it really came down to for us was you're dealing with these big apocalyptic forces. And is there a way to do it? And when we've done that before, the end result has always been similar. Lucifer got tossed in a cage. There was a fight, Lucifer got tossed in a cage. Dick Roman, there was a fight, and Dick Roman got stabbed in the neck. You know what I mean? So is there a way to do a different kind of season finale? And the risk you take with that is you're doing a different kind of season finale. And it goes against expectations, to your point. Does that make it bad or does that make it good? I think that's a lot of it's in the eye of the beholder. I will say for us, what made it interesting was that it was not a conventional choice, but I also understand that it may not have been as satisfying as, again, seeing Dick Roman get stabbed in the neck, because there's a finality to that and an endorphin release from that. Whereas in kind of God and Amara making peace and going off together, it's actually the best possible result if you look at the universe and everything like that, but it's also in some ways a soft result. And like I say, we knew that going in. This wasn't, the idea always was the big action happens in the episode before the season finale, and the season finale is going to be a much more smaller emotional story. And I get that people may not have been as into that as we were. That's certainly fair. But I do believe that, it's something that, you kind of, sometimes you try things and, you hope they work. And that one,
No, it makes sense.
It didn't necessarily work for everyone. I'm certainly aware of that. But at the same time, I don't think if you start doing things you only know people are going to like, and people are going to be like, oh my god, I love it, like that limits your storytelling wise. Because those stories are like at this point in the show, those stories are easy to do. It's easy to tick 3 boxes and know that the fans on Twitter are going to go crazy for it. It just is. And I think we all know what those 3 boxes are, or we all have a different 3 boxes. But I think the question is, if those are the only types of stories you're telling and the only types of episodes you're telling, then are you really allowing the show to grow creatively? Because it becomes a nostalgia cycle. You know what I mean? And we certainly been on 12 years. We have our share of nostalgia, and we certainly go to that well. But if that's all you're going for, and if all you're doing is repeating, then it becomes a real problem. And it puts a clock on things. And I think we have, with the guys and with these relationships, we have places to go that are really interesting. And I don't want to ever get to the point where I'm like, you know what, we're not going to do this because I know Twitter's not going to like it. I just don't think that's ever a good way to run a story or run a show. And I also think that the truth of the matter is, most people, the thing people like the most is the thing they wanted but they didn't know they wanted. And I think that's, and our hope is that this season, with some of the stuff we're doing with again, not so much the big mythology, but the characters, we're hoping there's some stuff there that people can really grab onto.